Hey ladies and gents, this is the Wiz coming to you with a review of the Cosmic Legions Slogg figure. Big meatball of a figure. And here is the giant box that he came in. Check that out, digital rendering there. And his name is Highwarden Slogg. So he's a big muckety muck. It says here on his bio, which I'm trying to get into the screen, Highwarden Slogg, the hulking commander of the prison of Alcatraz. Highwarden Slogg is a brutal tyrant, not to be defied. Exposure to a foreign atmosphere at a young age caused Slogg a catastrophic injury. The Squillick, born on the moisture-rich planet AX-0139, was then fitted with a custom suit, which provides vital moisture to soothe his burnt and damaged skin via canisters of Thrixium. Although the specialized serum provides a reprieve from certain death, Slogg's every movement is still bristling with agony. Like many of the prisoners he so cruelly oversees, the Highwarden's fate is chained to Alcatraz. Not only is his life-giving equipment tied directly to the prison's very structure, but Alcatraz's secondary function is the manufacturing of Thrixium, which provides Slogg with an endless supply of the essential serum. So here on the back, you can see the cross-sell of all of the other figures. And here there's a sort of rundown of Alcatraz Book 1, so you can pause that and read it for yourself. So glad to have finally gotten this guy out of the box. I've reviewed quite a few of these figures, and originally I thought my favorites were going to be the bug guys, the Sphexian aliens, but I really have to say that Slogg has just stolen the show for me. And if you are on the Mythic Legions and the Cosmic Legions Cabal, you've probably seen all the pictures I've been taking of him in the kitchen, in the swimming pool, just, all around town, in the gardens. And he just has so much personality. He's so much fun. There's so much just meaty goodness to this chunky figure. I am very, very partial to chunky figures. Having been and grown up as a chunky person my whole life, I can relate to the chunky guys. And so this guy is no exception. I love everything about this figure. And I've just been pouring it over every detail, and he's just so photogenic. So if you like taking photos of figures, this guy is just amazing. I've even customized him by taking his neck piece out and turning it into a sombrero. And in my head canon, he is a sentient bunch of avocado who's going back to Taco's Prime to, to get revenge for his people that were slaughtered there. But that's my own personal headcanon. Obviously, Highwarden Slogg is the head honcho at Alcatraz. And so let's look what he looks like as a figure. Big and heavy and surprisingly well articulated for a guy this size, I have to say. I think that arms have every bit of a great range of motion that you can get with smaller figures. The joints are really, really nice and tight. And the legs, of course, are as well. And they also have great range of motion. Some people compared this guy to, because he looks so huge, to the Trolls, but he's actually a lot more articulated than the Trolls. There's the rocker ankles that go up and down. There's swivel here. There's the knees back, and everything is really nice and solid. I've actually managed to get him in, one-footed running poses, and just everything that you can basically want out of this guy, he has, as well as, he's got the swivel there at the waist. He's got good range of motion here on the head, up, down, and side to side. So that gives him, you know, a very, very wide range of subtle changes. You know, sometimes it's just the tilt of the head can reflect a different mood or whatever. But that's very cool, and it's ingenious the way that they did that, because you can pop and swap that head with his other head, and he goes from angry to absolutely grumpy. So kind of grumpy cat. I have described this guy as kind of the, you know, unholy love child of the creature from the Black Lagoon and Jabba the Hutt. And I love both those characters, and I love everything about this guy. So in my mind, that is an absolute compliment. And like I said, I think he's my favorite of the wave so far. You can see all this intricately painted and detailed and sculpted details on his costume. You know, there are little tampos right here on the shoulder. You can see it's tusk, and it, you know, tiny little writing there. The Traders Union of the 5 Circles of Cosmerian. That's what tusk stands for. And then there's some other alien writing there, which I'm sure people have already decoded. And there's another cool tampo with a very, very cool logo there on his leg. So for a big guy, there's just a ton going on here with his belt. I'm guessing, you know, this is all some sort of high-tech equipment that keeps him alive. Another thing about him is you can pull these out, right? And you could stick something in there, and you could, you know, have him, I don't know, carrying some crystals or some gold or, I don't know, some secret stuff, right? In here, and all of these canisters sort of pop out, even the little ones, right? So you can fill those with whatever you want to fill them with. There's not a lot of room in there, but that's kind of a fun little Easter egg sort of thing. He also comes with the alternate head, as I mentioned before, this kind of grumpy, very, very grumpy cat face, kind of. Both of them have this scar and this one eye that's blinded, so that gives them a lot of character, right? And I like the angry face, because I think angry is more of my go-to emotion. So I really like that about him. It pops, but the grumpy face is also great, and it gives him sort of a comedic effect. So he's either mad or he's just had it with everything. He's just super, super duper grumpy. But the other thing about the angry face is he's got these sharp teeth, right? But then inside his meaty gullet, there's a tiny little beak, fully painted, that really reminds me of sort of an octopus beak. But it's a very cool little alien touch there that just gives him a little bit of extra creep factor. I love his angry eye, right? One of them has been scarred and he's blinded by that. But the other one is just this baleful, angry look. And that's very, very cool as well. He also has this frosty dome. And some people were talking about maybe they'd prefer a clearer dome. But I think it's really cool that they frosted the edges. It gives it a little extra touch of verisimilitude there on that dome, and that fits in really, really nicely. Another thing I've been doing, like I said, is I've been experimenting with taking the dome off. See, it's popped in there nice and tight. Taking the dome off, and then taking the next piece, taking this neck piece off. I'm not going to do that now because it requires heating, but then you can sort of prop the dome up so it's kind of half open, and I think that's a very cool look. Like, it's in between having a dome and not having the dome, right? Because if it without, you can only do that without the neck piece there, and the head still fits in there, it's kind of floating, but then you can have the dome half open, like he's just come back from whatever into his private quarters, and you know that's the atmosphere there doesn't require him to have the dome. But as you can see, they frosted the edges there, so that's sort of moisture coming from either whatever elements that there are, chemicals in there, or just his breath, right? His hot, steamy breath down here. Now he also comes with this sort of monitor. It has a picture of him on it, if you can see there. And I think what he's doing there is he's constantly monitoring his vitals because he has so many things wrong with him. You know, he's probably alien diabetes and gout and whatever, but he's had a hard life. He's gone through a lot, so that's why he's grumpy, and that's why he's grouchy, and that's kind of why I like him, because you know he's a fun character, that's for sure. So yeah, you could see the display there and the vitals and the little buttons and stuff, and then it's got this cord that runs, and you can plug it into one of the ports in the back if you want, either side, or you can pop it out quite easily. There are just so many different cool little touches, right? Like in back here, you have these belts, and you have these pouches, and you know all the textures are different. Like the textures on the fabric on his pants, the textures right here on this fabric, on those snaps, what looks like plastic buckles, right? Really nice little touches everywhere, metallics. This here, I don't know if that's enables him to fly or what this does, but that looks really, really cool as well. Tubes and, you know, little boxes, these three buttons here, and just all these nice little neat touches that I really, really love because he's so well thought out. I mean, look at the knobs there, the dials, right? The readout, and everything looks like it has a purpose. These different knobs and doodads also kind of reminds me of the Baron Harkonnen type thing, where he's, you know, Baron Harkonnen is kind of a morbidly obese guy, but he has a suit that allows him to levitate, an anti-gravity suit. So maybe that's something that is going on here as well. Like I said, I like the little touches to his uniform, and just everything about him is absolutely fantastic. I think he's my favorite of the whole entire wave. If not my favorite, very close to it. And I think I've had just more fun with him than with any other of the figures. See how you can move his head around. It looks like he might have gills there or something. And just all these cool little touches to discover and to play around with, right? Right here is a faction symbol for Tusk, right here, that in orange, right? The other thing I wanted to say is there's some dry brush here that's gray and sort of grimy, and it gives his body a sort of darker tone than his head, and I love that touch, right? Because some people mention that if he's going around with this bubble over his head, he's not getting as much grime and soot from this, you know, prison environment, this factory, also this drug factory that he works in. So it would make sense that his legs and arms would be sooty and just sort of a bit dirtier. Look at this bottom of the foot pads. It's got like, not fingerprints, I don't know if toe prints, is that a thing? Or the pads of his foot. He stands really well. He's got a couple of peg holes right there, but I don't imagine him needing any help standing whatsoever. He's just a really chunky, cool looking figure. Like I said, check out these gnarly toenails. You can see the details there. he definitely needs a podiatrist. He's got these gnarly fingernails as well. So super duper cool. Comes with extra hands. So these are punching hands. And I figure that's what he uses to take out his frustration. So he's got the grabbing hands. Some people have already gone and taken some big guns. I know people have been appropriating the gun from the Masters of the Universe Revelations Duncan figure and painting it up and appropriating it for Highwarden Slogg. I have my favorite accessory that I got for him to play with are some slugs. Ridley's novelty slugs, and I don't know where I put them. Oh yeah, here they are. Let me show the box. Here they are, a bunch of slugs, and I think it's just perfect because he can snack on those, right? And it really reminds me quite a bit of Jabba the Hutt, right? And I also, use his helmet as a bowl for slugs as well, and so he can enjoy a meal, and he's just a heck of a lot of fun. See those slugs? They look real, right? And hopefully you're on the Cabal. You're on the both the Cosmic Cabal and the Mythic Legions Cabal, because that's where I've been putting up a lot of my pictures of him just doing some gross, disgusting stuff, eating slugs, and he's just a lot of fun and a great character. I can't wait to see what kind of different heads this guy comes with. I'd love to see like a pug, a space pug face, because I think that would fit in well. I know Eric Treadaway has pugs, so he's partial to pugs, but I'd love to see a space pug, or some other kind of uses for this very, very unique character with a lot of personality, right? It's going to be tough to sort of top him or just have variants of him, but you got to think that he's probably not the only one from that planet. To me, he looks like I said, a big chunk of avocado, a big guacamole come to life, right? Or yeah, like kind of like Slimer from Ghostbusters, or a giant angry booger, like a mucus green, or maybe like a wasabi,